excited that we get to be a part of this to talk about the framing of what we mean by real-time situational awareness, and certainly in the context of an operations center environment, how GIS technology can take advantage of the Internet of Things, the sensors that are pulsing around us to derive some intelligence from that help us make better decisions in the midst of a crisis of any type or any size. So by way of introduction, just want to introduce the team that you'll hear from today. My name is Ryan Lanclos. I lead public safety and disaster response at Esri. That's a team that is focused globally on helping organizations respond to all types and sizes of crises. And we do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, responding. And we'll talk a bit about that as well. With me today on my team is Carl Walter. Carl leads our Homeland Security and Corporate Security mission space. So he's going to talk a lot about how we've learned to apply this technology in an operations center environment. So we'll kind of transition from recent lessons learned and the challenges that we see that are most common to how we start to apply it. And then Jon Pedder, who's a senior solutions engineer on our team working across the space for public safety, disaster response, and corporate security, will actually show you what it kind of looks like in practice. And we'll leave you with some links to follow up and some example resources that we think will help you move forward as we then transition into our colleagues at Data Capable, talking about how this all comes together and is put to use, and then certainly excited to hear from our colleagues that in the public space as well, how they actually apply it every day for business. So with that, let me just talk a bit more about us for a second in the framing of this conversation as we kick off today. So most of you probably know Esri is a software company. Certainly we build a technology called ArcGIS. It is a geographic information system, but we really are about combining the science of geography, the understanding of where we need to focus our resources and efforts across all phases of public safety and emergency management, whether that's looking at how we can understand what's coming at us from a threat perspective, a lot of what we're talking about today, certainly understanding how we protect against the natural hazards and man-made hazards and risk that is systemic across our communities, and then how we begin to mitigate that and understand the ways that we can truly adapt our organizations and our communities to advance ourselves in a more resilient way to whatever comes at us. And that really is predicated on this understanding of where. And here at Esri, we're focused on that science of geography and the technology of GIS, combining that together to help public safety organizations truly think differently about their landscape and about how they do those things across all phases. And I would say that our mission, really, if we think beyond that, is to help decision makers, and as us as technologists in GIS and geography and data science, I would say our role in this process is to help those decision makers who have mission critical decisions on the line to truly get better insights and have real-time information at their fingertips so that those decisions that they are making in the heat of the moment, whether that's for a wildfire or a flood or a terrorist event, is that they can make the best decision possible to save lives and property. And just to level set context a bit more, we're going to share some lessons learned. I mentioned that we support crises and disasters, but I wanted to speak to that for a minute, just for framing, again, of some of the lessons that we're going to talk about. More than 27 years ago now, we actually responded to the Northridge earthquake in Southern California as a company. In fact, it was a couple of organizational individuals who were connected just like we are today, had known each other, had part of the community, and responded into Southern California at the request of local governments to truly help them understand the impact of that earthquake on the ground, what was happening to the situation in real time, and how do they recover from that. We look at that first event as really framing where we go forward into all types and all sizes. This formulated and really gave us what we call the disaster response program. It is a formal program here at Esri that we have the pleasure to lead and work against. And it provides access to ArcGIS software to help configure that, which we're going to talk about today, for workflows like real-time situational awareness. It accesses data sets, whether that's from partner organizations like Data Capable. It helps us connect with you as users that are sharing information and paying kind of a switchboard, if you will, to connect agencies together. And it's also providing technical support to help organizations in mission critical moments truly ensure that their applications run well. You can learn all about that program if you want to at esri.com/disaster. And just to give you a sense of our reach, because this is a global audience and we're not just looking at this from a US perspective, although we're headquartered in the US, the last year for us, obviously for all of us, has been different. COVID-19 changed our worlds forever. And for us in the disaster response program, it really changed our world. It put us at a different scale of response to crises and disasters. that we have ever experienced. It was the busiest year on record. In fact, more than 5,000 organizations, you see some of those represented here on the map, reached out, and we were able to support through real-time data, through understanding and analytics to really take advantage of GIS to map the pandemic, to understand the spread of the pandemic, and move forward. So just to give you a sense, if you're working and you're connected from us around the world, know that we're here to support you as well. There's no cost to that program. We just do it to give back. It is who we are and want to contribute. Now, not only does our team focus on the natural hazards, I think it's easy for us to reference pandemics and floods and fires and earthquakes, and we also support quite a bit of safety and security events, if you will. So these could be big events. I've got a few of them on the screen here just to reference some of the work we've done over the past, whether that's working at national level events for sporting events, local level events for parades and resources. And we've done a lot of this work as well in these special event or event-based environments, planned event environments. And what we did is that we actually went back and learned that if we were to do a better job of preparing organizations to respond to the next crisis, whether that's a planned or unplanned event, a natural hazard or the like, then we need to do a better job of communicating what people were asking for, how this program was helping organizations, so that ultimately all of us can get better, right, to build the tools and solutions that we need into place to be ready to go. We found that there are 5 key things that keep coming up over the past 27 years, and that is on the screen here. And why I bring these up is that all of these needs, whether we're trying to understand how bad a situation is, or how and where we deploy resources, or how the situation is changing in a weather scenario, and put people in the field and connect real-time back in, like all of that, challenging workflows, if you will, are predicated upon the need to have real-time information. Like back to the point of why public safety is important to us and why we are all here, the 3 of us, is to help those decision makers make mission critical decisions. Now, if you take the next step in that process and think about the world of IoT and sensors and the proliferation of data and the needs that I just expressed that continually arise, relying on real-time data, it's easy to see how organizations and decision makers can be overwhelmed if we're not careful. Too much information isn't a good thing. So what we want to talk about today is real-time operations. How do we turn the influx of data, the streams of information that are coming at us in an operations center environment, into action? So we're going to share with you today some lessons that we've learned very specifically and show you how this looks, provide you with some solutions and toolkits for that, of how we can begin to monitor and ingest data, how do we triage what we're actually seeing on the screen, analyze what the impact might be, and then how do we alert and take action from there. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Carl, who will take the next step, and we're going to talk about a Fusion Center solution that builds upon this exact workflow, and we'll show you what it looks like. So Carl, over to you.
All right, great. Matthew, can we do just a quick time check real quick so we stay on cue here?
So you have another 8 minutes to go.
Okay. I am going to, just to save a little bit of time here, I'm going to probably skip my slides and move right over to Jon Pedder. But what we want to show you here is a new solution, a new web mapping solution that Esri's released called Fusion Center Solution. And if you think of a solution for today's terms, think of it as an industry-specific configuration for ArcGIS. It's a collection of focused maps and apps that help address different security challenges in your organization. So we're going to go through 3 modules, or 3 or 4 modules here: how to manage your facility data, how to monitor incidents, how to conduct tactical analysis, and how to kind of bring it all together in one common picture, or one single pane of glass. So John, let's switch it straight over to your screen and let's get right into it. I said the first thing that we're going to need to do here is manage our facilities and our base map data. So if you want to take over and walk us through the facility manager.
Absolutely, thank you, Carl. So you're seeing a web app up on the screen right now with all of Esri's facilities throughout the United States in here. This is where we load and manage all the facility data. We can actually edit the attributes of this data. We have a geofence and a geofence boundary right here, so that each one of our particular assets has a perimeter around it, and we're monitoring for any events that actually intersect that particular perimeter. We can also in here add new features, we can add new facilities, and we can edit our geofences in here as well. And then we can edit the actual asset itself, so number of employees, contact information, etc. The thing is, these are all static assets right here, but they don't need to be. We can monitor and load not only static assets, but also moving assets, so things that are being tracked. Carl?
Perfect. The sort of the next module, the incident monitor piece, let's get some information on a dashboard, and let's be able to focus and filter by proximity and by threats. So when those two worlds intersect.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. So this is an operations dashboard, and we've got some filters at the top where I can filter by incidents. So these are incidents coming in from Data Capable right now. And what we're doing is we're seeing all the facilities in our map that are potentially being threatened by any of those incident feeds that are coming inbound. I can click on any of these and see what that actually facility is and how many employees work there. I can use the tools here to actually zoom in and take a look, and you can see that this facility has 2 incidents right in proximity. I can click on those particular incidents and understand what it is that's potentially about gunfire and shootings. And this is real time, folks. I didn't make this up. This is data capable data coming in real time. We'll take a look at this again in a second. But I've also got some filters so I can look by geography, which of my facilities is being most impacted, and over time. So are things getting worse or are things getting better? So let's take a look at this particular incident right here. I can understand what it is, and I can click right out to the incident source. So where did this come from? So I can click right here and zoom out right to the data capable source feed. So this is where it came from. And from here, I can see it came in from a Twitter. And I can actually click right out here to that particular feed. So I can start to actually proof some of this. I can see each of the individual incidents right in here, and that filters again by each individual facility. That's a really quick overview, but Carl, back to you.
Yes, we have our facilities on the map. We have threat data on the map. We've shown how we can interrelate and correlate those two and alert. What do we do to avoid the massive amounts of information on a screen? How can we triage that data in almost a light incident management type of capability to manage clutter on the operational screen?
Good question, Carl. So we, if you saw in the pop-up, I clicked on the incident source. You can see this is an open incident, and I've got a triage button. Just to save a couple seconds of time, it actually launches into a Triage Manager. So this shows all the open incidents coming in right now. As an analyst, I can see on the map which incident I'm looking at. And right here, I can put it under review or close it out. I can put some notes in here as well. And when I save that, you'll see the status will actually change. So this one's yellow. And I can also send an email right here, right out to the facility, so I can notify them that there might be something potentially threatening their particular location. Carl?
Okay, perfect. And then let's understand consequences and impact after an event. So we have a tactical analysis module. So how do we run things like an impact summary and some of the bomb blast type of tools and ERG tools and understand the profile of a hazard area with its community characteristics and key points of interest? Perfect.
So I can launch the tactical analysis tool right here by clicking this button. I just happen to have it open right here. So this is all of my potentially impacted facilities. And I say potential because we haven't confirmed it yet. So I've got a tool here just to understand what is being impacted and by how many things. So we can look at an R&D center. I can click on that and understand what the actual incident is. But now I need to understand what that means to me. So I can click the set location button, and that will actually put a perimeter around it, or for the geography folks, a geofence. And I can understand how many facilities are in there, how many employees potentially are at risk. And note, I've got a little button. I can download this to a CSV. My facilities by type, threats in proximity. So these are all the different threats in proximity to that office. And this can all be reported on. So there's a lot of functionality in here. The only other one I'll show you really quickly is I'll just zoom in, and let's just say we had a potential threat in here. I can come in and use the threat tool. I can drop a pin. And if that was a suspicious package, maybe it's the size of a briefcase, I can actually create zones around that location to understand what's going to be at risk. And again, I can run my set location. It's a really quick demonstration I'm running through at full speed here. There's a lot more to show you. I just kind of running out of time right now. Carl?
That was great. And Ryan, if you want to share the closing slide here, and if folks need more information, the URL will direct you there automatically. And I think we are good to go.
Fantastic.